Russell Peter had asked Neil deGrasse Tyson, why were humans stupider, prior to like the 1800s? And this is something I've been thinking about a lot. And Neil basically went off of the thought or the theory that whatever time that you're alive in now, you're gonna be biased and think it's the best time ever when you compare it to the past. And therefore, when you go 100 years into the future, those people looking back on where you are currently living, they're thinking like, wow, those guys are complete idiots. But here's the thing that I think Neil is missing on, is he's focused on the wrong part of the question. He's thinking like, oh, that we weren't stupid. We were making discoveries, every century. And he gave examples: 1800 steam electricity, 1700 steam engine, and so forth. But this is something I really contemplated a lot on, and I just had an epiphany on it. Pretty much, it's not the fact that humans were stupider. Well, yes, but listen to my full answer. And I'm sorry how I worded it. It's not the fact that we were stupider, it's the fact that we didn't have access to the internet. So, pretty much generations prior to the internet really seem stupider. Now, don't take that out of context. I'm not trying to say people's brains back then were lesser than ours. I'm just saying the media, which is the internet, and how we obtain our information, is what made us more advanced as a civilization. Back then, you would have to go to the library and read books. And before that, that's like 1800s, I guess, around then, I'm just guesstimating here because I don't know all the facts or the history. So I'm theorizing, or have a hypothesis that not too long ago, libraries wasn't public. Like, for a long time, only the rich had an education. So therefore, discoveries were very minor and minimal compared to today. See, back then, if you were the lower class, the poor class, you just worked. You did your daily grind, The average poor person or the lower classman wasn't coming up with ideas, wasn't coming up with great inventions, wasn't being philosophical and thinking about the world, and writing it down in a book. For a long time, people couldn't read and write, Great. Only the rich people could. So now we get to a point where reading and writing is taught at a very young age for everybody. And let's not get into slavery. Let's just keep it generic. Okay? So for the most part, reading and writing became accessible to everybody at a very young age. So then that's when we started having more and more explosions of ideas and thoughts and inventions and all of that. But it was just a slightly explode. It just, the line graph just went up a tad bit. Because still, for the most part, even though people could, simply read and write, they wasn't getting the education. Still, that's something only the rich people would do. Most people would just work a regular job, work at a shop, work a farm, whatever, doing their family's business. I'll go get a job, just, they had that mindset. And for a long time, that's how the mindset was. Until the internet blew up. Let me say that, because the internet was invented and it was being used, but it didn't really blow up until all these websites came about, and companies like Google, Facebook, Yahoo, AOL, whatever, all of them. So that's when internet took off. Oh, YouTube, can't forget about that. So now, you can take a regular average Joe, they can look up anything online for the most part, learn about it in-depthly, become a scholar on it. And from that, create whatever ideas and then put those ideas out there into the internet for free, pretty much, and blow up from it. So it's just that accessibility to be able to easily receive any information that we want and easily put it back out there to the same source, so that anybody else can do the same thing. So now we just see the explosion on the line chart of so many more ideas and thoughts and gadgets and whatever, patents and technology is just exploding and just rushing up. And at this point, it's never gonna stop. There's no brakes on this thing. For the longest, it was moving at a slow turtle pace. Now it's moving at a fucking speeding bullet pace, and then it's gonna reach to the speed of light pace. So that's what I think Neil deGrasse Tyson was missing the point on when Russell had asked him why it seemed that we were so stupider in the past. And that's my answer. It's not that, let me sum it up. It's not that humans were physically stupider. It's just that we have the means now to be as smart as we want to be. Theoretically, it's infinite possibilities on how smart you want to be. You can just be on Google all day, just searching and learning stuff non-stop, become a brainiac. And then you also now have the means to relay those thoughts, opinions, ideas, patents, technology, gadgets out into the world for the whole world to see, pretty much. And it's forever as well. Like, people 20 years from now can look back on your thought and your gadgets and expand on that. Maybe you didn't like do nothing now, but somebody can be like, oh, what was that design so and so made like 20 years ago? Like, let me expand upon that. And they can easily do so. Before, you couldn't. It was just in small, higher up groups of people. So that's what I want to say. That's my answer to that. It's something I have thought about a long time. And I think I got a pretty good hypothesis on it, to the point where it could be a theory. But y'all let me know. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening. Sorry about the audio if it's crappy. I wish, I could have a real podcast. And not just when I'm at work, sitting in the van, get an idea and let me just talk about it, So, thanks for all my first fans, my loyal base. Who started with me from the bottom, from the beginning. My day oneers. I appreciate y'all. And I appreciate anybody who happens to come across this on this magical world called the internet and likes it, approves of it. Even if you don't, share your thoughts. Tell me what you think. Why it seemed like humans were less smarter back then than they are today. Oh, that's another thing. It's just that stuff that's easily known today wasn't easily known back then. So it's not like math. Like, most people back then didn't really know math, They knew how to count, but they didn't know math. Now that what the smart people knew back then that were very trivial and very basic, now it's to the general public and the general knowledge. Like, we all know fucking how to add, we all know how to subtract and do all of that. Back then they didn't. So now that we know the basics, we can expand upon that. Back then people would have to learn the basics, and then that would be too much for them because it's all super new. It's like learning how to tie your shoe and you don't know what a shoe is. I don't know. I just came up with that. But that's pretty much how it was, So today's civilization is much smarter when it comes to that. We already know the basics, which goes along with what I was saying earlier. Now that I think about it, about the reading and writing, all of that plays along in the effect now that the average person gets a decent education, and that can be expanded upon. Before, people didn't get educated, which is a sad thing. If people were educated like how they are today, even without the internet, the internet would have probably been invented freaking 100 years ago or whatnot, But, everything happens for a reason, so they say. Sorry to be sidetracked again. That's just how I do. I appreciate y'all for tuning in, for listening, showing love, liking, and share. Also, put your comments down. Let me know what you think. Alright. God bless. Silent out. Deuces. Alright, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast. just a few moments ago, this lady had pissed me off. So it's just, I need to let it out because it's just gonna bother me. So I was delivering her package to her door, and I drop it off, and I go to walk back to my van, and she come running out with a dang, I can't think of the word. What's the word? I can't think of the word right now, I'm sorry. But let me just try to use another word with a mean tone in her voice, saying, "Can I help you?" Bitch! Like, pause. First of all, yeah, I get where you're coming from, and I understand that. That's one reason why I didn't go off on you. Second is because it's not professional. So, all of that aside, all the logic aside, resume. Bitch! Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? I'm trying to... Can you help me? No, you cannot help me. Like, what the fuck? Like, the way she said it, like, that's pretty much the problem. If she would have said it in a nicer tone or in a different way, like, may I help you with something, you know? But I get it's dark, and, like, I'm a shadowy figure, I guess. I don't know. I got a hoodie on because it's fucking cold. But still, like, have some manners. Like, can I help you? What you want me to say? Oh, no, I'm finna murder you. Ha, ha, ha. Like, bitch. If somebody was gonna do something evil to you, they would just do it. They wouldn't respond to you. And secondly, I replied with, "I'm just dropping off your package." I wish I would have said, "Do you not want your package because you're too fucking lazy to go to the damn store and get it your damn self? So, no, you may not help me. Or you can help me by not fucking ordering so I don't have to come to your fucking place, you rude ass bitch, to deliver your package and to be questioned by you in the first place. That's how you can help me." Fuck out of here, bitch. Alright, y'all, thanks for tuning in. This was a short podcast. Hold on a second. While I got y'all here, I want to touch back to the previous podcast on Neil and Russell about the whole technology and people being dumber in the past. I just want to say that Neil did kind of touch base with what I was saying and what my hypothesis is, but then he reverted back to his original point of view. So I do want to give him credit. He's a smart man, brilliant man. I don't want to discredit him in any way, you know. But I believe my answer is more in line with what Russell was looking for. And I also want to throw in there, because I gave out some names with the whole Google, Facebook, YouTube and all that, but I really want to break it down to why today's generation is way more advanced. Because to touch bases on what I said previously about how people know the basics. And now we reached a point where the average person is very well informed on the basics, reading, writing, math, a little bit of science, etc., whatever. Now we're getting to where the hard level stuff is going to trickle down and become the new standard of general knowledge, because there's a lot more ways to attain this information. Prior to, you couldn't. Only like if you went to fucking high scholar colleges and universities and places like that, where these really smart people, circled and was a part of, and where they went. Now it's every fucking smart person, has a podcast or is interviewed on a podcast, so, and then they get asked all these questions and then they break it down, so then that concept, those complicated concepts for the average person can understand it way better. And then we get hungry for more. We want more. I know, at least I do. I want to understand, like, a black hole or history and why things turn out to be and stuff of that nature. Like, I'm hungry for more. I wish I could be sitting down with them and interviewing them. And so this new form of learning is pretty much is like the next, I believe, is the next jump in the next generation, and this one, with us being smarter and more great leaps in technology and ideas and gadgets and so forth, because before, we would get our education at school, and then that, for the general population, that would pretty much be it. A percent would go to college and then get degrees and whatever, but the mass majority would go to the workforce. Now, the workforce can, quote, get, a degree. No, let me rephrase that. Now the average person, quote, can learn things that they teach at universities from these people on these podcasts. So, podcasts are fucking insanely crazy, like, when it comes to information. I'm telling you, it's the next boom. Like, they're all over the place. Like, everybody's got a fucking podcast these days. So, I just wanted to touch base back with that from our previous podcast. Shout out to my boy Neil. Shout out to my boy Russell. Hopefully I get to meet y'all one day. Maybe smoke a blunt with y'all if you do so. I don't think Neil does, but I have a good feeling Russell might. Alright, that's it, folks. Thanks for tuning in to another Silent Killer podcast. I appreciate y'all. Have a wonderful day or night. God bless.
Bomb protection happens from trees, not from people. I'm talking about, like, when they push too hard into a spot.
It was too close.
Bravo lockdown.
Typically spot somewhere else.
Hey, Saran, coming in.
Half time.
Oh my god.
Yeah, you got saved by the halftime, didn't you? Coming in with a shotty, too.
Target removed.
Ooh, I can't wait to start working on the shotguns. That's gonna be so fun.
It's click and delete, dude. That's it.
I mean, it's like Modern Warfare. The 725.
Well, it's because you got
delete.
switching sides. They're